We are back, and I'm really excited about this segment because it was one of those things that I have got all kinds of questions,
yes.
and you are about to answer them.
Yes, I think I am about to answer them. So, we shall see. But I did find out that it's not CSI, it's actually CIS.
Okay.
And forensic investigations is definitely not what they show you on TV, so.
It's not?
No.
That's my favorite part. I've been waiting for that for so long you have no idea. If you guys missed the reference, that's CSI Miami.
Yes.
Because it is one of the shows that is a guilty pleasure of mine, and that's kind of what most people, I feel like, have in their mind, that's what it's like.
Yeah, it was brought up a lot last night, which was kind of funny because people kept asking questions. They're like, I know on TV this is what I see. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the two guys that were there to talk were like, well, kind of, sort of, not really, maybe, no. So,
because first and foremost, they get fingerprints back like this. They get DNA back like that.
You solved everything in an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
And
that's
even,
so not true.
They don't even try to pretend like time has gone by.
Exactly.
But in reality, set us straight.
In reality, well, actually, in reality, it's called CIS.
Okay.
Criminal Investigation Services. It's not CSI, which is what, crime scene investigation. Mm-hmm. So it's the same letters, just not in the same order. And they really aren't the guys with the guns coming out and kicking down doors, because the police officers actually do that, not the... Would you call them lab geeks? I don't know if you'd call them lab geeks, but...
They do on television. And some people, I've even talked to several people that are in the medical field like that they do.
So, but yeah, I mean, they might have a gun or something, but they're not the ones kicking down doors, asking the questions and whatever, like they show on TV, all exciting and stuff. But there were, I mean, he said that the technology does exist, one of the guys did. It's just that it's ridiculously expensive, and so most people can't afford it. So, you know, the stuff there's some kind of accurate.
So Las Vegas and Miami, they may be able to afford, but our forensics lab...
There's no hope. Well, maybe one day after, you know, that $140,000 piece of equipment, or I don't know.
A grant.
There's huge numbers for those, you know. So you could, I guess, in reality, have those, but you'd have to be a millionaire.
And in part, they do share, like they might send DNA to somebody who has, that part is accurate. I did know that.
That part is, it just depends too on what they do, because they were saying that if you get fingerprinting done, it doesn't leave the police department. But some of the stuff they might send out, you know, just depending, like maybe DNA or maybe that sort of thing. So some of the stuff stays here and some of the stuff goes out, and so that depends too. But I mean, he had there was some weirdly, they're like gross but interesting facts. Like if you tried to cut off your fingerprints, you would basically have to cut down to the bone, which is kind of gross, but they can still identify you because you would have scar tissue that they could identify you. So you might be able to get away with one crime, but after that they've got you. You know, there's no way that you're getting away with it after that. Even your shoe prints can be identifying depending on like the way you walk. So if your foot kind of leans in or out or whatever, they can identify you just from that, and like where you walk to and from every day can make different marks in your shoes.
Really?
You know, like how crazy is that? So, you know, that was kind of cool too.
And you do actually see that on the television thing with tire tread, so they can get down to the make and model, which actually narrows their search. So that part is really true. But it doesn't happen in an hour, right?
No, it doesn't happen in an hour. They were saying, let's see, fingerprinting stuff can come back pretty fast, just depending, because they've got the APHIS database, and the, what was it, APHIS, IBIS, and some other, I can't remember what the other one is now. So they've got the different databases that you hear them mention on TV. So
that they just plug in the fingerprints, and then
you know, so they can plug in some of that stuff for DNA, they can plug in that fingerprint, they can plug in that ballistics, whatever. It's not going to come back to you in 2 seconds. And you know how on TV they show DNA as being like 100% match or something, or, well, 99.9?
Yeah.
No such thing.
Really?
Comparatively, you can say there's a probability with DNA, but there's no way you can ever say 100% this is that person. You can say there's a probability of like 1 out of 10 or whatever. Fingerprints are 100%. DNA is not 100%.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that was
So it's not those percentages that we always see. It's literally 1 in 10, 1 in 20.
Yeah, there's not really a percentage. But he did have an interesting question. Is there really such a thing as an identical twin? Because their DNA matches, but no two fingerprints are the same. So I thought that was, I don't know, philosophical question for the day, or I don't know.
So do they have some of that facial recognition software or the nose? Those you always see on the TV where they try to get perfume. Do they have those kind of equipment?
They've got, well, you know, the lights where they show them coming in with the flashlights and then the orange glasses. We actually got a little bit of that last night. He did warn, if you ever own one of those lights, don't take it to a hotel room with you.
So that's true.
Even the ritziest hotel, you'll never want to stay again. So just, you know, word to the wise. Ew.
Hopefully the sanitation is good in the hotels that you guys are staying in.
Well, I mean, it can look clean, but when you get those black lights and the...
So what room did you look at when you were using those
Well,
black
I
lights?
mean, we used the lights inside the, we were in the chamber council, and so, like, you know, it still showed some sweat and maybe some skin and hair and stuff, so it just depends, because the light is broken up into different parts, I guess different waves of the light, and so, like, your hair will show different than, say... Blood or sweat or, you know.
And it actually shows different colors?
Well, it doesn't show, it just glows differently.
Oh, wow. And that's part of their training.
And that's part of their training. So, yeah, it was kind of interesting, and it was, like, grossly interesting, I guess.
So did you have to shut out all the lights like they do?
We tried to, and, I mean, there was still some light, so it was a little hard, but you could still kind of see, you know, where there was this fluorescent glow coming off of, you know, say, like, stuff on the floor, whatever. So just because it looks clean
doesn't
always mean it's 100%.
Sure.
He said they will find something no matter how clean everything is, so.
And in truth, that's how they find... the DNA, that's how they find who was in that room, that's how they start their search, and that's how they narrow it down.
I mean, it's just the level, it's easier to find, you know, like in the kitchen, if there's a crime scene in the kitchen, then they have to decipher the beef, chicken, pork, whatever blood left from that from, say, a human. So, you know, they have all kinds of ways to do that, which is kind of cool. So... Or if you're at a convenience store, sometimes it's hard to separate all the different fingerprints all the different, you know, DNA samples left behind. So, you know, it really just depends on where you are, how easy it is to get that evidence. But it can still be done. They can even get your track marks from snow. So, you know, hey.
And do they speaking of the track marks, do they still do those impressions where if you have a footprint in the garden or you have a...
They can do the casting for it, and... So really, I mean, you know, they say TV's not accurate, but what they're taking from the TV crime shows is, I guess, maybe just like a higher plane of, they were like, let's take it to another level and make it this way. So some of that stuff really does exist, which was really cool to learn, because I had not a clue. You know, I just thought it was all really like, yeah, let's do this. So, yeah, it was kind of exciting to learn that some of that stuff actually is. Now,
did they give you a time frame as to how long an actual case might take of let's say, it's not too delicate, but a normal...
It really just depends on the case, you know, say, like, if someone broke into your house, that's different than if someone stabbed you on the street.
Sure.
So it really just depends on what the case is. And, you know, sometimes they can take weeks to go through a crime scene, or they can just take days. And it's not only, like, the forensic techs going out, you know, there's the detectives who've been taught how to do the criminal investigation stuff. And then they also train some of the police officers to come out there, so that, you know, the people in the labs don't necessarily always have to come out to do everything. They've taught these guys how to do it and collect some of that evidence and that sort of thing.
So that something doesn't happen. It's not contaminated.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they do talk about on television.
But there's always going to be contamination.
Sure.
No matter what he said, just the person who committed the crime by virtue of leaving has taken something with him from the crime scene, you know, or brought something into the crime scene that wasn't there before it was a crime scene. And even, you know, just the normal people walking in.
The police, the fire, the ambulance.
If it's the middle of August, no matter how covered up you are, you could still drop some skin cells or some sweat or, you know. So, I mean, everybody's going to contaminate it or take out something in one way or another. So,
nice. But, all right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with more from Rosie. CIS. We are back with CIS Rosie. Now, we may not have the technology where you can touch the screen and move things around and have the desks, but we have a lot of the cool technology that is needed to actually investigate these crime scenes as well. So.
Yeah, and since the state can work with the city, so if they need to send off, and they've also got a good relationship with the feds, so say they need to get off to the FBI, send something off there, they've got that. And they've actually got a couple investigators who are certified by the FBI, so if you...
so we're safe.
Yeah, we're safe. I mean, these people, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Don't mess with them, because if you commit a crime, they will find you. Seriously.
So first and foremost, the CSIs don't come in knocking down doors, guns a-blazing.
No.
You leave that to the police.
You leave that to
the police. So that's already... I thought it was a cool job because they carried a gun.
I know, right? I mean, I'm sure they still get to carry a gun if they want to and whatever, but...
I had to live vicariously through your tweets last night.
They were fun, though.
In my mind, that CSI Miami was playing the whole time.
Right.
And I had the sunglasses on, watching my phone.
But every time someone did bring up a question, like, I see this on TV, and then you would kind of see the guy go,
yeah.
Because it's just not real.
They glamorize the television.
Yeah, but I mean, they still can do, because he was talking about a couple of the investigators who know how to get into your TV and computer, just because you think you've deleted a photo or... even off your phone, these people can go in and they will find it. And, so if you do something stupid, kill somebody or
they're gonna
whatever,
hunt you down.
And you post it and you delete it or whatever, they can just go in and get your computer and your phone and actually find it, no matter how good you think you are.
So the technology, I guess the bottom line is, the technology is real. We have it here to an extent, or partnered with. But my last question is, because even Deanna, my wife, we will sit and watch these shows of, let's say there was a fire and the CSI is sent in. Do they wear white dress slacks and pretty shirts and lace and silk?
No.
Like you see on the TV?
They've got to have their heads covered up, just in case some hair fibers might fall. They've got to make sure they're wearing their long sleeves and their gloves. They're not going to walk in there in their little high heels or
They
whatever.
don't? So they don't step out of clothing catalogs that...
No.
Oh.
Too bad, huh? Right?
Yeah.
Don't we all wish we could just step out of a clothing catalog every day?
I wish I could. It would really help me. So if there's somebody out there who wants to dress me...
Right?
So I guess the truth is the technology is there. It's not going to be solved in the hour.
No, it's not going to be solved. I mean, it might take months, it might take years.
We don't have the touch screens and the fancy stuff that you see, but we do have that technology that is fingerprints, that is DNA, that is face recognition.
Yeah, they can do that sort of thing. So, I mean, it might take them a little bit to catch it, but they
bottom line is don't break the law.
Right?
And thank you so much for coming in, because honestly, and thank you for being a good sport about the glasses.
Yeah, good thing I own so many aviators.
Because honestly, I know that I had a huge invest in this because I just like the shows and I like watching all the forensics on television where they actually do it on National Geographic.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun and it is really interesting once you learn it. Like I said, some of it's grossly interesting, but it is interesting once you learn about it. So just make sure you know truth from fiction.
And this is week 4, right?
This is week 4. We're taking a break next week because it's spring break for somebody. So, but after that, I'm not sure what's coming up next, but it should be be fun.
And you know what? It's really interesting to actually dive in. I'm so glad you're doing this because
me too.
We get to dive into what it's like to be our police team and find out what behind the scenes goes on, because a lot of people, like myself included, thought it was you just get in the car and you do patrols.
No, I mean, there's some guys who get in the car and do patrols, but then you've got to, there's a whole lot of people doing a whole lot of things just to make it work. So.
But they really are working very hard to protect and keep the citizens safe. And even in a small town like Kokomo, it's great to know that we have that technology to keep us on the forefront.
And if you're into some of the stuff, I mean, the CIS guys, you know, they go through a whole lot of training. But if you decide to do forensics, because they're two different things, you've got to be super smart. You've got to have a background in investigations. You've got to have, you know, a background in science. You've got to be working towards your master or already get your master's. I mean, these people are just...
I forgot. Besides the flashlight to look at biologicals, do they have the other flashlight to kind of scope around?
Yeah, I mean, there's little ones, and he said before well, I guess it wouldn't be technology. Before, it used to be you would just put, like, a little film over it. Now they've got different lenses that you can do, so they can just go around and identify, because the different waves of the light will pick up on different things.
Nice.
So, again, don't take that to your hotel room with you. So...
again, I was so excited for her to come in and talk about this because genuinely, I have a vested interest. I love those shows. I drive Deanna crazy with it. So I'm glad that you're coming in. And I'm glad you're doing this series because it really does give us an investigative look for our own to look in and see what our police do because they work so hard. Hats off to them because you have to know, you have to put up with everything. You have to deal with a lot. So again, thank you, kudos, amazing work to keep us safe. So thank you so much for coming in, and thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget about Harvey. He needs his forever home. 713 North Elizabeth Street, 452-6224. Check out all of the amazing pets. They're waiting for their forever homes. We will catch you next time. See you later.